So yeah, I this is my first time broadcasting a live match, so this should be a good time. But yeah, as I said on Twitter, this is We Like Dota Community Night. Yeah, you can check out our podcast at WeLikeDota.com. We also do
Dyer's Band.
some community match broadcasting, such as this evening. So I put those up on YouTube at youtube.com/WeLikeDota. And we do have a Viper band coming out. I think that's probably a direct response to Yadneb's Viper. And which is kind of funny because when I have played matches against other people, like they'll just ban heroes that I'm good at.
10 seconds to go.
Like Silencer and Marana and
5 seconds.
and all those people. So it's kind of funny.
Dyer's Band.
And we do have a Treant Protector ban from Waldorf and Statler. Because Cheeks of Flappin is good at Treant Protector, so that's wisely being banned out. And there is a Marana ban from
Radiant's Band.
the Dyer. I guess I'll just refer to them as the Dyer. But yeah, as I said earlier, you can check out more about the show at reddit.com/r/WeLikeDota. We do a weekly podcast and also put some stuff up on YouTube. So you're probably watching this on YouTube right now or on Twitch. So I've been trying to stream on Twitch a little bit more. But yeah, this is exciting. We've never been to the point where there's so many people that I need to broadcast the matches. So this is fun. This is a good time. There's a Death Prophet ban, which
10 seconds
I
to
do
go.
not blame them for banning Death Prophet one bit because she is annoying to play
5
against.
seconds.
Her ultimate is just so good against
Reserve
buildings. You know, if
time.
you want to do like a push lineup or something like that, she really brings a lot to the table for that. And a Bloodseeker first
Radiant's
pick. Okay, seems like a bold pick.
Radiant's pick.
I do like the Vengeful Spirit pick. I feel like Venge is just a good pick in almost any situation, and it also doesn't really show the kind of the draft strategy for the Radiant right off the bat, which is good. So yeah, Bloodseeker being a first pick, you're able to counter that somewhat easily.
Sven stands ready.
Okay, a Sven
Dyer's
pick.
pick.
I do enjoy Sven. I know people have tried to run him as a support before in the past, and I don't really like him in the support position because he's so mana dependent, and his stun is good. It is somewhat of an AoE stun, but it just costs so much mana. So yeah, I feel like running Sven in the carry position is the way to go, so he can get all
10
the farm that he
seconds to
needs.
go.
And I think the Venge will do a decent job against the Bloodseeker.
Reserve time.
I'm trying to think about it, and I don't think it's necessarily a hard counter like it is to Drow or Sniper. Okay, and a Weaver pickup.
Dyer's Band.
So I'm not entirely sure how well Bloodseeker and Weaver synergize together, and I'm willing to say that they don't. But I'm also not a big Bloodseeker fan. I really just don't feel like
Radiant
Bloodseeker
band.
brings much to the table for... At least if you're going like kind of standard, like teamfight oriented, I don't really think he brings too much to the table. He does have Rupture, which is really nice, which I actually suspect Rupture will do
10
a decent
seconds to
amount of
go.
work against the Radiant, because
5
when you get
seconds.
Rupture, you just need to jam that S key, stop moving, and just
Dyer's
either
band.
teleport out of there or just don't get caught out. I feel like with Bloodseeker, if you just don't get caught out, you're fine. But Weaver, on the other hand, he fits into lineups pretty nicely. He's so hard to catch. You need to use Dust to catch him out
10
in his
seconds to
Sakuchi
go.
form. And he's just so hard to kill. So he kind of just
5
darts
seconds.
around the edges of the fight and just kind of... You're just not sure where he's going to be.
Reserve time.
Because he's not going to be like right in the middle of the fray. So maybe if they're trying to run Bloodseeker as maybe that
Band.
initiator or kind of that glue for where team fights are going to happen, he might be the way to go.
Radiant's pick.
I'm not sure. But from the Dire, we do have a Silencer and Sniper ban, which is fine and to be
Dire's pick.
expected. Silencer is good, and Sniper is annoying to deal with. Which I think if... Yeah, I don't know. I think if you have Vengeful Spirit, you're not necessarily going to pick up Sniper. And we have an Ancient Apparition
Radiant's
pickup.
pick.
Okay, I do like Ancient Apparition. I used to hate him, but if you listen to the show, you know that I played a couple matches with him, and I actually wound up kind of liking him. I did him for the A to Z challenge, and I hated him, but now I feel like that ultimate is really fun once you get the hang of it. Yeah, he brings a decent amount of lane stability. He doesn't really bring many stuns, which is
10 seconds to go.
not something entirely to be excited about. But yeah, that ultimate, he's just able to do so much work with that. And on the Radiant side, we do have the Dazzle pickup, which happened
Reserve
earlier.
time.
Love Dazzle. He fits into almost any lineup. He brings healing with the Shadow Wave, and the Weave buffs armor and debuffs enemy armor. And I think I saw that by the end of Weave, it was up to like plus 30 armor. So that's just a really good ultimate to drop at the beginning of a fight. And we do have a Drow Ranger pickup, which I think is actually a pretty good pickup against the Drow, or against the Dire lineup, because they don't really have any stuns. Bloodseeker only has a silence. Weaver doesn't have any stuns. Ancient Apparition doesn't have any stuns. Because Drow Ranger is really positional dependent. You know, that ultimate goes away once an enemy hero is next to her.
10 seconds
So
to
you're really
go.
looking for any heroes that can get her out of position,
5
or even
seconds.
stun her or silence her. And yeah, it'll be
Reserve
interesting to
time.
see if they try and counterpick this at all, which Vengeful Spirit is a really good counterpick to Drow. And obviously they're not going to be able to pick that. So yeah, I would, and Silencer has already been banned. So someone with good stun, good disable is what you'd want. An Enigma pickup would be somewhat decent, I think. Actually, I think I'd quite like that pickup. Or a Bane pickup would be really good, you know, for good disable. I'm definitely liking the Radiant draft a little bit more at the moment right now. Okay, Wraith King. This is good. I like
Radiant's
this.
ban.
This gives them the tankiness that they need, and I really hope this is a support Wraith King. He does bring that nice stun, and his reincarnation ability just means the guy's just never going to die. So I
10
think what the Dire are
seconds to
looking to
go.
do is, if they're looking to team fight, Wraith King will be that
5
initiator and kind of the person where the fight happens around, and Weaver will just kind of be darting around the outside,
Dire's ban.
hitting people up. So I think the Radiant need to find either a mid, unless they put Venge mid, but I'm not a big fan of Venge mid. I'd like to see
10 seconds to go.
shoot, even like Tinker would be decent, I
5
think.
seconds.
Who else would be good mid? Puck would actually be a pretty decent
Reserve
pickup here, I
time.
think. Really keep that Weaver in check. Keep that Bloodseeker in check with the Dream Coil. I think TA would be somewhat okay, but Weaver's what's that thing that lets him attack several times? His Geminate attack would kind of go through the refraction charges pretty quickly. We do have a Lich ban from the Radiant. Don't blame them whatsoever for banning out the Lich. His ultimate's really difficult to deal with. Even
10 seconds to go.
I've been playing for a year plus, and his ultimate is still somewhat
5 seconds.
difficult to deal with. Storm Spirit ban. Okay, so they are anticipating
Radiant's pick.
some sort of mid pick here. Unless they send Drow mid, which I don't like Drow mid either. She doesn't have any sort of escape. I don't really think any of these heroes are particularly strong mid. So it'll be interesting to see what they go with.
10 seconds to go.
They still have a decent amount of reserve time left,
5
so
seconds.
They can take their time as they need.
Reserve time.
I do wish Jared was here because he's able to give a decent amount of insight. But as he is not, that is okay as well. It seems like they're having a very difficult time deciding on who to play as their mid hero. It has to be expected. It's a difficult decision for sure. The Dire are going to have to go quickly though. Their reserve time is down to 3 seconds. So there is that. But I do like the amount of disable that's on the Radiant team. They do have the single target stuns from Venge and kind of a pseudo AoE stun from Sven. Bristleback, okay. So I would assume they're going to put Drow in the mid lane, have Yadneb on the Bristleback, and I would assume this will be a safe lane, probably Dazzle and Sven. And put Venge and Bristleback in the off lane. And this is probably going to be a mid Pugna. So this is interesting. This is an interesting lane, or an interesting setup. Really, I feel like the Dire lineup is really pretty fragile outside of Wraith King. So I don't like to show favoritism, but I do like the Radiant draft a little bit more. But we'll see how it goes.
Places, everyone.
Ah, crap, I forgot about the crazy zoom out wheel. Okay, so here we go. We'll go ahead and introduce the lineups here. We do have, as I predicted, Yadneb on the Bristleback. That's a hero that he is a big fan of. He typically plays those off-lane heroes, and he likes those. And we do have the Errant Pixel on Dazzle. I'm a big Dazzle fan. Going for the branches and the Tango, then the Salve and the Clarity. Not going for the standard support Dazzle items, unless I would assume, yeah, Field Studies went ahead and I would assume he bought the Courier as well.
30 seconds to showtime.
No, the Errant Pixel did. Okay, so Errant Pixel bought the Courier, and then Field Studies is getting the wards, and then also standard support items. So it is a Drow Ranger mid played by Crimson957, good old community manager Kyle, and as I said in the offlane, we do have the Errant Pixel on Dazzle and Yadneb on the Bristleback, and in our safe lane we will have Nikolov, I think that's how you say his name, on the Sven, and Vengeful Spirit supporting him in the safe lane. On the Dire side, we do have Rainbow Dash on the Carry Weaver and Cheeks of Flappin' on the Pugna. So I'm not sure if that's a support Pugna or... It doesn't look like it. It looks like it'll probably be like a third position Pugna. In the mid lane, we do have Captain Trips on the Bloodseeker, and in the Dire off lane, and we do have a pause coming out already, of course. We do have Dare on the Ancient Apparition and Ren on the Wraith King.
All right, carry on.
So yeah, I think I like this lineup quite a bit, and the Dire do have their wards down. Not a big fan of using the double warding on the river, but it is nice because it gives you a decent amount of vision. You're absolutely going to know what that mid lane is doing. And yeah, if I'm on the Dire, I prefer to put like a ward like right here, or even just hold on to it, just to see if there's any ganks incoming. So in the mid lane here, I think I really prefer I think I like Drow a little bit better, just because it's a range versus melee setup, and that's always going to be rough if you're in the mid lane. And I do have to give Bloodseeker credit, though. The lane, he did get the better creep block off, so he does have a little bit better positioning. Drow Ranger wisely going for the Ring of Protection, though, just to help tank up against those hits from Bloodseeker a little bit, if he does, in fact, get any harassment. It is a little strange to see Pugna not buying any wards, though I would assume you could use the Nether Ward as a bit of a ward. I'm not sure how that works out. I've truthfully never really played too much Pugna. We do have Bristleback buying the Stout Shield, which is always a good option. And let's see what this Nether Ward even does. Places a Nether Ward that fires mana flares at enemy heroes who dare to cast spells while also preventing them from regenerating mana. Nether Wards deal damage equal to the damage multiplier times the mana spent by the enemy hero. So really this is going to be a sad time for Bristleback. Bristleback's not going to be able to spam the Quill Spray and the Nasal Goo, and then it's also going to be a little bit rough for Dazzle casting those support spells. But as long as you're not in range of it, you'll be fine. So Pugna is quite frail. Only 587 max HP. Yeah, sorry about these pauses, guys. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know if they can see me typing. I don't think they can. That's fine. We do have Wraith King going for the Quelling Blade, which a lot of people don't like to buy the Quelling Blade, or they make fun of people who do buy Quelling Blades. But I think look, if you have issues last hitting, I think they're fine because they're going to help you hit a little bit more, and if if you're going to get the last hits that you wouldn't normally get because you bought the Quelling Blade, then it's worth it. Kyle with his Walmart internet connection. I think I think Yadneb is stream cheating, but I have a 20-second delay, don't tell him. So it is pretty quiet here at the beginning of the match. Hopefully we'll look to see things heat up a little bit. And we do have the Dire. Oh, Wraith King going down right off the bat there. Field Studies getting the kill on the Wraith King. Looked like he was a little bit far forward. Was able to just use that magic missile and get the kill no problem. Bloodseeker getting a little gutsy here, approaching the high ground. And it looks like Drow is pinging out the Bloodseeker, maybe looking to try and get a gank, perhaps. And we do have Wraith King walking back to lane, which generally if you're playing a carry Wraith King, you'd want to buy a TP and teleport back to lane, so you're minimizing the impact of not getting last hits and experience. But yeah, we do have the Radiant ahead 1-0 right now. We do have Weaver using that Sakuchi to kind of harass a little bit. It looks like it's mostly even in the mid lane right now, though Drow Ranger is able to get a little bit more harassment off. Bloodseeker not really able to touch her whatsoever. But yeah, Bloodseeker's killing Drow Ranger when it comes to farm, though. 10 to 21. 22 now. So I would give the advantage to Bloodseeker here. He's farming up quite a bit better than Drow Ranger is. So at least they're same experience-wise, but definitely give the advantage to Bloodseeker. So we are, the mid lane is getting close to hitting level 6, so once that happens, I would expect we'll start to see our mids break off and start to gank the side lanes. Yeah, still pretty quiet though. Still pretty quiet. Drow playing pretty far forward here, and Bloodseeker is level 6 and was able to use that Rupture, and we might have our first blood here. Yep. Or no, that's second blood, excuse me. So Bloodseeker getting the kill on Drow because Drow was playing a little far forward, didn't realize that Bloodseeker had hit level 6 and was able to use that Rupture solo. And yeah, if you're solo caught out against that and you don't have a TP scroll, there's really not much you can do about that. So good on Bloodseeker for being able to capitalize on that, and now he'll just have free farm for the next probably minute or so, unless Drow Ranger buys a TP scroll, which she does. Wisely buying that TP scroll to get back to lane as fast as possible. And I did miss a kill on the Wraith King. Field Studies on the Vengeful Spirit getting another kill on the Wraith King. So I assume Wraith King was out of position. I don't have the ability to go back in time like I do when I cast replays on YouTube, so... And Vengeful Spirit getting a little bit low here. But I think she will be just fine. But yeah, look at Bloodseeker here. Bloodseeker is so far ahead as far as farm goes. 31 compared to 15 of the Bristleback. And it looks like Drow Range is going to feed another kill here. Was able to use the Rupture, no problem. And you would think that Drow Ranger would have realized after that happened the first time that you don't want to play too far forward with the Rupture. You don't want to get too greedy there, get out of position. So you definitely don't want to be giving away kills to Bloodseeker because he's able to snowball off that quite well, and was a little bit of harassment happening down here. Not sure exactly what happened, but it looked like Weaver was trying to poke around a little bit. But yeah, no surprise here. Look how far ahead Bloodseeker is already. He's ahead by about 1,500 gold thanks to those 2 kills, and he was already ahead in farm. So that's a tough mid matchup. And here we go. Here we go. I predict another kill on the way. The Rupture is off cooldown, but not enough mana for it. There we go. Now now he has enough for it, and Drow Ranger wisely backs up. Says, "I don't want any part of this. I'm getting out of here." And the Radiant are rotating mid potentially to get a kill on the Bloodseeker, and I really hope this works out well because they need a kill on this Bloodseeker badly. He is so far ahead. And another pause coming out. Cheeks a flapping, giving the shout out to YouTube. All these pauses, you guys. What the heck's going on? Alright, here we go. Resume.
Alright, carry on.
Alright, it's about to get interesting here, folks. And Bloodseeker getting... Oh boy, Bloodseeker. 2-on-1, baby. I hope they're able to take him down here. The Viscous Nasal Goo is going to slow him down quite a bit, but he is getting close to that tower. And I don't know if they can take tower damage like this, and Bloodseeker will get away. They should have brought that Vengeful Spirit with him, who has that nice Magic Missile single target stun. The Viscous Nasal Goo is just not quite enough to be able to slow down Bristleback like that. But if Drow Ranger is able to get a tower kill in here, that will be nice. Let's take a look at the item progression. We do have Dazzle sitting on some Sentry Wards. Bristleback probably going to be going for Power Treads. Is that what a build of Strength builds into? Yep, going for the Power Treads. Bloodseeker sitting on a Poor Man's Shield and Power Treads. Oh boy, here we go, boys. Drow Ranger getting the Rupture again, walks away, proccing all the damage with it, and she's just going to give away the kill just from all the movement speed, and Bloodseeker's going to get another kill on her, no problem.
Can't do nothing about dire structures right now.
And Drow Ranger, come on, don't be playing that far forward when you don't know where Bloodseeker is. Gotta play it safe. Gotta play it safe. So we do have Vengeful Spirit sitting on the Tranquil Boots and a swap on the Ancient Apparition with a single target stun. Ancient Apparition is going to go down, and will they go in on the Wraith King? Looks like no. So again, those deadly stuns from Sven and Vengeful Spirit able to just really punish any hero that gets out of position in this lane. So this lane is one for them. Sven using that stun on the Ancient Apparition, or on the Wraith King. And I don't think they'll be able to get a kill on him quite yet, but man, they were close.
Guess what's happening?
Did Venge have it?
Bottom tower.
No, she did not have enough mana for that. So usually you want to wait until they can do a combo for that again. But you know what? You're harassing the Wraith King. He's got to go back to lane. Or back to the fountain. It's almost as good as a kill. Pugna's sitting on the Bracer to try and buff up that HP a bit. Weaver going for the standard Ring of Aquila, whatever it is. Try and buff up some of that damage. Bloodseeker rotating to the offlane here. There's going to be a Rupture on Dazzle, but Dazzle wisely decides to not move, to not take a ton of damage. The Rupture is now off of Dazzle, but I don't think Dazzle will be able to get away. And things are quickly getting out of hand here. The Dire are just wrecking with this Bloodseeker, and I find that if you don't know how to play properly against the Bloodseeker, it can be tough. But Drow Ranger did get the kill on the tower.
Radiant's top tower's in bad
So that's really nice. That'll open up the map quite a bit. Lets them kind of come up through here and gives them, you know, easy access to the Roshan pit.
Hits.
And it looks like we do have Wraith King wrapping around here trying to get a revenge kill on Vengeful Spirit. That stun going down, but I don't think it's going to be enough to kill Vengeful Spirit. The Cold Feet will catch her out. But yeah, I think she's going to get away no problem. No! A last-second Wraithfire Blast will kill Vengeful Spirit. So finally, Wraith King getting the revenge on the Vengeful Spirit. It's been about 2 kills coming. So good on them. And taking a look at the net worth, this Bloodseeker is just so far ahead. He's in a position now where he can just go crazy. Is sitting on the Maelstrom, so he can just sit there and farm up. And yeah, I know I was kind of poo-pooing on Bloodseeker during the draft. But yeah, the ideal position, or the ideal thing that you want to happen for Bloodseeker is happening right now. He has to snowball, he has to get kills right off the bat, and be fed. You really have to rely on your opponent's mistakes. And I tell you what, it has been an ideal game for Bloodseeker. A little bit of action in the Radiant offlane, but looks like no engagements are really going to happen. And I would expect some more wards to be coming up. Rupture going down into Sven. He doesn't know that you should not be moving with the Rupture, and he will die thanks to the Rupture damage. And guys, I'm here to tell you, when you play against Bloodseeker, if you get ruptured, stop moving. Just stop moving, make sure you don't get caught out. If you get caught solo against a Bloodseeker and you start moving, you're just gonna die. So just don't do that.
Bottom tower's seen better days.
And Weaver almost dying to the Bristleback here. Pugna using the, what is it called, Nether Blast? Yeah, Nether Blast was a little bit off the mark. And I can't help but think that the strategy with Pugna is you almost solely pick him to push towers. And, you know, this tower is still standing at 13 minutes. So it's kind of a shame that that hasn't been pushed yet. Bloodseeker just going crazy with farm. Was able to take down the Ancients. And I'm excited to see what else he can do here. I think he's going to go crazy. Here we go, another Rupture on the Drow. Drow Ranger wisely not moving too much, but the stun from the Wraith King will go against the Sven, and I think we're going to see a kill against the Bloodseeker here. Vengeful Spirit stunning him, Bloodseeker getting out of there, but we will see Wraith King killing the Sven, and Vengeful Spirit and company will wisely back up. Though Drow Ranger might take some dot damage from the Ice Blast from Ancient Apparition, but does teleport away. Surprised she didn't go back to the well, and there was also a Weaver kill from the Bristleback in the top lane while that was going on. So quite a bit of action here. I've really enjoyed seeing this Bloodseeker be really active, trying to get as many kills as possible. And rightfully so, he's about 2,500 ahead. Pugna has brown boots in the stash at about 15 minutes. I would think you'd want to get boots earlier, but then again, he does have 320 base movement speed, so that doesn't necessarily need to be buffed a lot.
Mid tower could use a hand. Radiant's mid tower.
And sorry, I was just typing a message there. But yeah, Vengeful Spirit's sitting on this Urn of Shadows, and I'm not entirely sure if that's a great pickup. Just because I don't think they've been active enough to really reap the benefits of the Urn of Shadows. And it looks like we do have a rotation to the bottom lane here, trying to wrap up this ending or this laning phase to maybe try and suture this hemorrhaging from the Radiant side. The laning phase was a bit rough for the Radiant, but they do have the tower advantage and a long-range Sven stun. And I think that was maybe a bit too early out of the Sven. Should have waited until they were a little bit close, but we do have the Wraith King going down, and the Reincarnation will be in full effect. Ice Blast going down from the Ancient Apparition, but Wraith King will die yet again. And this Wraith King has not been super effective during this match.
Radiant's top tower's hurt.
And there we go, that Urn of Shadow being used to heal up. Shadow Wave
Radiant's mid tower's
gonna help out quite a bit, and in the mid lane, Bloodseeker was able to get a kill on the mid lane tower.
Lost the top tower.
And also at the same time, we have a split push from the Dire.
Tower's getting banged up.
So the tower kills are at the same. So both teams have 2 towers down. So the positional advantage that I was giving the Radiant earlier has now been lost. So the Dire is definitely way ahead here, with Bloodseeker at about 3,000 gold ahead. I mean, yeah, just look at this gold graph. Look at that XP graph. They are way ahead. And I hate to say it, but I can't help but think that that this Drow Ranger in the mid lane really put them in a pretty bad spot right off the bat. But that's okay. You know, we've all had games like that. Weaver getting caught out, and he's going to Sakuchi away, or no, he time-lapsed away, and it'll all be fine. We do have Bloodseeker going for the Blade Mail, so he's going for a little bit more of a tanky build. So when he activates that Blade Mail, any damage he receives will be reflected back. So that is really nice, especially I mean I gotta feel bad because I think this Bloodseeker is kind of going for the pub stomp build. He's going for those items and those. I mean, even if you pick Bloodseeker, you pick him because people don't know how to play against him correctly. So Vengeful Spirit picking up the Medallion of Courage, which I'm a big fan of, really help reduce that armor, help people go down faster. Look to be using that against the Bloodseeker. With that, he's up to 16 armor, which is pretty decent. So I would like to see some dust being used right now, or a sentry ward or something to try and catch out this Weaver while he is invisible. Weave going down, really only going to catch out the Vengeful Spirit. Stun going down on the Weaver, but using the time-lapse, and I think he'll be just okay. Never mind, Weaver taking a ton of damage. Shallow Grave going down on the Dazzle to keep him alive, but Bloodseeker just doing work here, right-clicking. Wraith King using the stun to get the kill on the Vengeful Spirit, and that is a 3-for-1 exchange, folks, and
Dire's top towers.
yeah, I think the Dire will take that exchange any day of the week. So it's kind of gone from bad to worse for the Radiant. Unfortunately.
Their top tower.
And as I said earlier, I do like this ward up here for the laning phase, but I think you'd want to start, you know, putting wards right here. Maybe consider warding up Roshan. I'm surprised nobody's put up Roshan.
Dire's top tower's gone.
And it looks like the creeps got a kill on the tower here, which is nice. Help him out with some of that gold. And Bristleback is the best as far as farm goes on the Radiant team, which, as your offlaner, Bristleback doesn't really carry super hard or at all, so you'd really want this Drow Ranger to be getting some better farm, which she is sitting on 39 CS, Bloodseeker sitting on 84. So Bristleback and Drow doing about the same for farm, but yeah, especially when they're grouped up as 5 like this, I'd like to see them kind of splitting up a little bit more, trying to get some farm, maybe using the jungle as some recovery farm. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy is right now. Looks like Bristleback may potentially be running into death here, but I think he might just be going to the secret shop. No. Looks like they're trying to push back this creep wave to try and defend as many towers as they can. Wraith King did pick up that armlet, which is real nice, because with that vampiric aura, Dazzle being caught out by the Bloodseeker yet again, and Sven walking in 3-on-1, definitely don't want to be doing that, so I think we'll see a Sven kill here, but the Radiant are bringing in the troops, but this is quickly going the Dire's way, and Stun catching out the Bristleback, he'll go down, no problem, and will they try and pick up the Vengeful Spirit kill here? They're definitely going to be able to get the kill on Drow, and I think we're going to have a full 5-man team wipe here, no problem. And that Stun just catching out Venge, and yeah, that was not great. As soon as Dazzle fed this kill here, yeah, they really just should have backed up and not keep feeding kills into the meat grinder there. So it is 7-16, and the Dire has quite the advantage, so I think we're almost to the point where it's a little difficult for them to come back. They are about 5,000 gold ahead, and I mean, anything can still happen. I played a match a couple days ago where we lost pretty hard in the Roche Pit and gave up an Aegis and lost a lane of Rax, and the other team just went crazy off of that. So, you know, there is that. But yeah, this has got to be... I got to feel for the Radiant. This is a tough position to be in. Tough position to be in, for sure. Especially for this Dazzle. As a support, you know, you just try and get the wards up and just hope the best for your team. Try and support them as much as you can, but trying to get those wards up. And I can't tell you how many times I have died trying to get wards set up for my team. Feeding kills for wards is not a good idea, and I've definitely been there. And I think this Weaver knows what's going on. So I think we might try and get a kill on the Dazzle here. Dazzle knows something's up and backs off. Good idea. Getting close to that mechanism. A mech right now would just help these guys out so much. But yeah, nobody's got one. I think a mech would actually be a pretty good pickup on Bristleback. Really help him tank up a little bit more. And we do have Sven sitting on a Morbid Mask. Would hope to see that change into a Mask of Madness soon. Drow Ranger sitting on that Yasha. Rupture going down on Drow Ranger. Drow Ranger running away. Still hasn't figured out that ultimate is just killer. Or no, that is the Blood Rage. I'm sorry. But yeah, Bloodseeker did get a kill against the Bristleback. And we do have Weaver chasing down the Vengeful Spirit, but he is going 3-on-1 here, and does use the time-lapse to get out of the sticky situation he was in. Dazzle using the Weave to help buff the armor, and just saying, hey guys, we want to get the crap out of here. Ancient Apparition getting the kill on the Vengeful Spirit. Weaver coming around and getting the kill on Dazzle, and we are close to another 5-man team wipe here. Or did Sven die earlier? Did Sven die? Was that another 5-man team wipe? It was another 5-man team wipe. Man. And I think we've got to be getting close to GG. We've got to be getting close.
Radiant's toughened up their structures.
So Weaver getting the Perseverance. I think Perseverance builds into the Lincoln Sphere. So that is actually a really good pickup for the Sven and Vengeful Spirit stuns. So like I was saying during the draft that I like the Radiant draft way more, but it just goes to show if you don't know how to play against certain heroes,
Radiant's top
or you
tower
just feed
taking
kills, any draft, as good as it is, won't be able to counter bad play.
hit. Radiant's top tower's hurting.
And it's okay to play bad. I've definitely been there, and I definitely still play bad, so that's fine.
Radiant's top
But you
tower's
definitely want to
hurting.
try and minimize feeding as much as possible. Weaver kind of skirting around the edges here. Probably going to try and set up a kill here. But I think he has been spotted. Bloodseeker going for the Sanjin Yasha, which is pretty nice. The Weave going to buff up the Radiant's DPS quite a bit. Bristleback, I think he wants to kind of get involved in what's going on here. Okay, never mind. There's not going to be any fight, so he is quite safe to keep farming over there. And it is just a tough situation for the Radiant right now. I think the Dire would maybe want to start looking into doing Roshan. We have Wraith King going for a BKB, which again is going to be great for those Vengeful Spirit and Sven stuns. I didn't really talk about it earlier, but the Wave of Terror from Vengeful Spirit is just a great spell. You can get vision off of it. There's an armor debuff. And yeah, it barely costs anything. It's just a nice little spell to cast right off the get-go for the beginning of a match. And we do have Weaver going into the jungle to try and find some kills with Bloodseeker, but I'm not exactly sure what's going on. And they do know what's up because they do have the, this ward here. You can always just assume that the river is warded up. So I think it would have been maybe a little bit wiser to come around this way. But really, what's it matter? They're not going to really be able to do too much about it. And here we go. We have Bristleback leading the way, so let's see what they're able to do. Bristleback using those that quill spray to try and get Warpath buffed up a little bit. They do notice that Ancient Apparition is trying to wrap around here, so it looks like we're going to have a bit of a 5-man engagement happening here. But Bloodseeker does teleport to the offlane to try and get some more farm. And Drow is leading the way. Not necessarily the best position for her to be in. She definitely wants to be anywhere but leading the pack. Okay, so let's see here. We do have the Nether Ward being placed in the tree here. Great placement. Eul Scepter of Divinity being used on the Vengeful Spirit to keep her out of the fight. Weave going down to buff everyone up. And we do have the Wraith King reincarnating. He went down pretty quickly, and we will have the Weaver go down quite easily. And Ancient Apparition is getting quite low. Wraith King getting a kill on the Sven, and that is a 3-for-2 right now for the Radiant, and it is an even 3-for-3 exchange. Unless the Pugna goes down, he is quite low. And that was just a freaking massacre, you guys. Jeez. Drow Ranger and Vengeful Spirit escaping with their lives. Wisely using that Eul Scepter of Divinity on the Vengeful Spirit to keep her from stun and initiating. And yeah, that wound up being a pretty decent fight for the Wraith King. He was able to get quite a bit of work done. Oh, here we go. Bloodseeker in here to clean things up, activating the Blade Mail. Vengeful Spirit gonna chase out of here. I'm not sure if there's too much Bloodseeker can do. Oh, you should have just kept running, buddy. Not sure if there's too much the Bloodseeker can do to stop Vengeful Spirit, but he does have that increased move speed when the health goes down, so he will clean up the Vengeful Spirit, so that is effectively another 5-man team wipe. So he does get that increased movement speed when heroes are below 50% health, so yeah, I can't help but think that the Drow Ranger and Vengeful Spirit should have just backed up when gotten to a safe place when they lost that fight. But I can't help but think that you'd want to stay up there because you didn't necessarily win a fight, but there were only 2 other people on the other side of the fight. So yeah, I don't know. I can understand it, and we do have another Rupture going down. Or no, I'm sorry. See, the Rupture and the Blood Rage both make the same sound effect. Rupture going down on the Drow Ranger. She does wisely stay in place. Eul Scepter of Divinity being used on the Sven. But Cold Feet really just keeping him in place, and I think we're going to see a Sven kill here. Bloodseeker getting another kill on him, and we do see Bloodseeker just going to down here. Ancient Apparition Blast going to clean up the 2 remaining heroes. So that is a 4-for-0 exchange in favor of the Dire, and
Bottom tower ain't a pretty sight.
we are definitely at the point now where it's super hard to come back from this. About 11,000 gold advantage.
Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom tower.
And sorry, I'm trying to chat with Jared at the same time while I cast this match. He's able to join in about 20 to 30 minutes, which will be nice. So, but those of you on YouTube, you don't care. And Wraith King is just kind of hanging around in the top lane here to get up a BKB and try and farm up a little bit more.
Guess that's 10 in a row. How about that?
Bloodseeker got another kill on the Drow Ranger. Drow Ranger was definitely a little bit far forward there. I did miss the kill, but I could see it on the minimap. So yeah, the is it the Ice Vortex or the Cold Feet that freezes? Yeah, it's the Cold Feet that freezes. So a nice swap there, but I think that's going to cost Vengeful Spirit her life. They do get the kill on the Ancient Apparition, and the Shallow Grave keeping Venge alive for just a little bit, but Bloodseeker's right clicks are just doing work here. We'll clean up the Bristleback and the Sven. And the Dazzle... Who killed the Dazzle?
Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom tower.
Pug Knight got the kill on the Dazzle.
Done for. Radiant's mid towers.
Yeah, this just goes to show that feeding kills in the early game can really just set you up for disaster in the early game, or in the mid to late game if you know what's going on. Let's see. So Bloodseeker is picking up that BKB, which is just a really nice pickup for him. Pugna going for Bloodstone, which I'm not sure if that's a typical item for Bloodstone, but I think that is a nice pickup. Really helps out with the mana. And really just lets you spam his abilities quite a bit more. Looking at the kills here, good lord. Bloodseeker on top of the kill chart was 16, Pugna in second was 7, and Wraith King in third with 5. And yeah, we do have... Looks like we're going to have a Roshan attempt here pretty soon. And the Radiant will be none the wiser because they don't have any wards per se. But I would think they'd be able to figure out if they don't see anyone on the map for an extended period of time. But Bloodseeker does say, hey you guys, let's go for another full man team wipe. And we do have Sven initiating on the Pugna. I think Pugna will go down quite quickly here, but a stun catching out Sven. And the Blade Mail being activated, and we do have Bristleback just banging on Bloodseeker, and that did quite a bit of damage, and Sven will go down. The Shallow Grave not able to do too much against that. And we do have the Wraith King catching out the Dazzle. And yet again, Vengeful Spirit and Drow Ranger are on the move, but Bloodseeker does have that increased movement speed and a nice stun from Vengeful Spirit to try and stop Bloodseeker, but I don't think there's much they'll be able to do here. I think actually if they keep running, they would be fine here. A nice single target stun catching out Field Studies on the Vengeful Spirit, and he will go down. And Drow Ranger is the sole survivor. So that was a win for the Dire, and that was probably over at about the 15-minute mark, maybe even less. So good job on the Dire side, and it just goes to show don't feed a Bloodseeker early. And Bloodseeker didn't even die. Oh, that's horrible. 827 XP per minute. Yeah, it's just tough if you don't know how to play against Bloodseeker. So if you make it out of the laning phase without feeding Bloodseeker, the way to beat him is to just 5-man team fight. He just does not really bring too much to the table for 5-man team fights. But, you know, he was already just so far ahead. going into the mid game. So there really wasn't able, really weren't able to do too much for that. So I think we are going to go ahead and do maybe another match. We're going to wait for a couple other We Like Dota members to join the fray. But yeah, that was a good one. And thanks for joining. And as I said, this is We Like Dota, WeLikeDota.com. You can also check out our subreddit, reddit.com/r/WeLikeDota. And also, those of you viewing on Twitch and later on YouTube, you're already on our YouTube channel. So yeah, that was a good match.